Good evening and welcome to Surefire Wednesdays. My name is Chef Jonathan Collins.
My name's Bailey Collins.
And Dakota will be joining us in just a minute. We'd like to say hi to everybody in the Outdoors Nation that's watching tonight. Over a dozen different feeds. Yep. We want to get to each and every one of you, but we want to start off by telling you some of the exciting recipes we got.
Yeah, we got a lot of great recipes tonight. My brother's cooking up a great margarita
He's
tonight.
cooking a margarita? I hope he doesn't cook a margarita.
Actually, he's got simple syrup, which he cooks.
Okay,
so
he's cooking a margarita. Okay. I stand corrected.
I eat drinks sometimes.
Okay, what are you making?
I am making what I call a blueberry bone blitz. That's a tongue twister. Say that.
Triple B. Blueberry bone blitz. It sounds like it might be good for you.
It is. So it's basically just a drink that's full of calcium, protein, everything that's good for your bones. It's going to be delicious. And you make quesadillas.
Yes, that's right. Quesadillas. Honestly, the thing about making quesadillas is that everything that you need, you don't even need to put these ingredients together. They smell, they look, and they taste amazing.
And they can all come from your garden as well if you got one.
That's right. So you got to plan ahead. But the most exciting thing and the centerpiece of tonight is this beautiful mule deer. Yes, beautiful mule deer. So we want to start off by thanking our good friends at Excalibur, because actually the boys and I, we haven't hunted mule deer yet. Our mule deer hunt is coming up this fall. But this beautiful mule deer, we start off by thawing it out. And one of the things the first thing I noticed when I pulled out this mule deer is the incredible smell. Now, if you've ever butchered anything that you've killed, you'll know that has that, honestly for me, it's a beautiful smell. It smells fresh, it smells delicious. Dakota?
Hello everyone and welcome to Surefire Wednesdays. We are excited tonight as you were talking about that mule deer, eh?
Well, the mule deer, first of all you have to do is just look at it.
It's so red.
It's so beautiful, so fresh. That's the thing. So now a couple of the side recipes that we're going to be doing, we're going to do a pico de gallo. Now, a fresh salsa, fresh tomato salsa is the perfect way to accentuate this. And one of the things that's going to go along with that is we're going to do spicy black beans. So it's all kind of the classic things. We're going to show you the way that we do our quesadillas. I don't even have to check the recipe book. This is we do quesadillas once a week. The thing about quesadillas and the roots of them is you just take whatever's fresh, whatever you have available to you, and all of a sudden it becomes a carrier for
I mean, I don't want to say that we're pros at it, but when we had a beach restaurant down near where we live right now, people loved our quesadillas with our homemade salsa. People just fell in love with them. They couldn't understand how we got them so golden and brown.
So I would have loved to make flour tortillas for you tonight, but there's only so many recipes we can do. So you want to make sure to start with a good flour tortilla. And I'm going to get started a little bit of prep, but we are always going to start on Surefire Wednesdays with our smart food. So this is Bailey's recipe, this blueberry bone blitz, okay? This sounds good to me. And one of the things that I was impressed, he was like, well, because we almost didn't have almonds. We got the almonds here. He's like, I have to have the almonds because we need calcium. And I'm like, okay, I know that you make almond milk, but they're not out there milking the almonds like would you calcium really?
Calcium,
and sure enough, it's a great source of calcium.
And not only that, there's calcium in everything I have here, from the kale to the dates, the raisins, even chia seed has calcium in it.
Very nice.
Yeah, when I was doing the research for this drink this week, I was surprised at how many things actually do contain calcium. You like to think of that as stuff like milk and cheese and all that as the only things having calcium.
So that's why it's called bone blitz.
That's why it's called the bone blitz, yeah. So the first thing we're going to start with tonight with this is actually a rather simple drink. I call it I keep wanting to call it a juice, but it's really a smoothie because you make it in a blender. So the first thing you're going to do is I like to start with my vegetables. They're always at the bottom so that they get a good blend there at the bottom. You're going to want about half a cup of kale. Kale is amazing for you. Kale is full of a vitamin that's vitamin K. So vitamin K, what vitamin K is for is, actually, to be honest with you, I never even heard of it before I started researching this. But vitamin K is essential for synthesizing protein.
That's fascinating, man.
Yeah, so that's another thing that's great about this is it's full of protein. So after you put the kale and all that in there, next thing you're gonna want to do is toss the rest of your ingredients.
Let me have a look at those babies.
These are
Look at
dates.
those, man.
So these are
Look at that color.
they're perfect, eh? These dates are great because if you ever, I don't know if you've ever had dates, but dates are really sweet. So they're amazing. If you
Tons
have
of fiber.
Tons of fiber, but if you have kind of like a bitter kale and collard greens and stuff like that,
Sweeten it up.
you gotta throw them in to sweeten it up. The recipe says 3, but I like throwing in a couple more. And same thing with raisins. Raisins have a lot of sweetness to them. They're also, like Dad said, full of fiber and lots of good stuff like that.
And make sure you buy pitted dates, and if you don't, make sure you take that pit out of there. You'll get a nice little crunch there. And your
They're like bullets in a war.
And your blender might have a tough time doing that.
Not this one.
Not this one. This one would do it. Next thing we're gonna do is that might look like a lot of almonds, and but I like almonds, so I'm literally just gonna dump those in there. Almonds, like Dad was saying, are full of calcium. I think I have a number actually. So a cup of almonds, it contains around 38% of your daily amount of calcium. So this drink, what I went for with this drink is to try and get your full daily amount of calcium into one drink. You know, breakfast, everything like that, so that you don't have to worry about it. You know, following the food guides of Canada, you want to make sure you get all that. And Dad had the great idea of adding blueberries to this drink. This is amazing for, first of all, flavor.
And antioxidants.
So I'm just going to dump it.
The reason that we're showing you these smart foods is because obviously everyone's out there this time of year. You're probably already done all your training. You're already on your elk and your sheep hunts and your antelope hunts. You're already doing them, but this would be a great thing when you're doing your training to get all that energy back, to bring yourself back up, right? All these great food aspects.
Good for energy, good for muscles,
Exactly.
general nutrition, digestion.
That's another thing. If you just got done a workout, things like almonds and dates and all these blueberries, they're full of, first of all, water.
Yeah.
So if you want to rehydrate or anything like that, this is another one that is safe to toss in the fridge, and it won't lose too much of those minerals. So it's a great one to make ahead of time for whether it's after a workout, after a hike, anything like that. So I'm adding a 1/3 cup of Greek yogurt. Greek yogurt is amazing because, first of all, it's thicker than just regular yogurt, so it adds a great texture to your smoothie. Then after that, I'm going to take milk, and I'm going to add 1 cup. 1 cup of milk right into this smoothie again.
I think with all those nuts in there, you might need more than a cup, but you'll see.
Well, try it. I'll add a little more milk. Milk is again a great source of calcium. 1 cup of milk is 1/3 of your daily intake of calcium. So you can imagine in this drink how much we're gonna have in here. And
We got 3 days worth of calcium.
We do. I almost forgot my chia seed too. So chia seed is great. I don't know if you've ever used chia seed or not, but if you take chia seed and you toss it in a cup of water.
Have another good look at that, please.
Yeah. If you toss it into a cup of water, you'll see how they almost start to expand and turn to like gooey
gelatin.
And if you can think, as you eat that and it goes into your stomach, those chia seeds expand and turn into that gelatin, and it just kind of grabs everything along the walls of your stomach, and everything is a great cleansing for your body. So I think that's everything. I keep forgetting stuff.
Now, this is one thing we always say before you start anything. You know, you always eat with your eyes first. If something looks this good, and Bailey's talked about all those nutrients, let's see what it looks like now. Blend that baby up. I got a couple. I actually need a kick in the butt right now, so I can actually have some of that.
That's another. I had one of these this morning, and it's great for energy as well.
The most important thing when you're doing these, make sure that lid is firmly affixed.
Ready?
Yep. Oh, look at that color. Oh, no, we need ice. All do is just grab the ice. So one of the things that you need, I'll pause this just for a second. One of the things you need when you've got things like the collard greens and kale is you need a blender that'll really chop through it. So we don't want that kind of bitter texture. It'll take a little bit of time. So the reason Bailey's grabbing the ice is because we want to keep the temperature down. Of course, as you're blending, you're increasing friction. This will give us a little bit of liquid. Yeah. But the other thing it'll do is it'll protect those live enzymes and give us a really nutritious shake. So what I would say, now, if you are lactose intolerant, remember, just replace milk, any of the dairy, with water, or it could be with your favorite. Almond milk?
Oh, you can use almond milk.
Yeah, they're not milking the almonds.
Milk in the
Put
almonds.
that in there. That looks just beautiful.
Take a look at this, everyone. Look at this as I pour it out.
Oh, I gotta try some of that.
Here, give her a try. You can see those blueberries in there, how they just brighten it up so much.
Oh, the almonds. They make it. We tested it earlier. We didn't
No
have
almonds.
the almonds. Cheers, man. Dude, that's awesome.
Tastes like health.
It does. It tastes good. Really good. The couple things about it. First of all, both the kale and the collard greens have been chopped up just to perfection. There's no texture. The almonds are just beautifully flavored.
It's a great texture, and I know me personally, I don't like things that are too, like, I don't want to say healthy, but like stuff that really kind of has that bitter taste and everything like that. This is really sweet. Those dates, the raisins, the blueberries have added a really sweetness to this drink, and it's amazing.
That's good. So every week on Surefire Wednesdays, we're going to continue to bring more and more smart food. Yep. I'm going to use this opportunity to throw to a friend of ours, a Bowtech ambassador, Rihanna. She's going to be going live tomorrow on the Bowtech Network at noon Pacific time. So that's 12 p.m. Pacific. And I saw her teaser, and she's going to be doing dehydrated food, which I have not done a lot of. So I'm really looking forward to that. And just as I begin this my cooking segment, honestly, we're extremely envious today because our good buddy Nate, let's talk about what Nate got done today.
Yeah, Nate Zielinski, who you'd recognize, he has a show here on the Bowtech Network on Monday nights that's all about scouting and prepping for your hunts. And he today, we just found out he filled his antelope buck tag. It only took him 2 hours. So I mean,
he walked out and he was like, that's a nice one.
We are definitely
spot and stock.
We all got the message and we were like,
we freaked out.
We were instantly jealous, man.
So you know what you need to do?
Yep.
You need to go to Bowtech.
Yep.
You need to go to all the previous episodes, and everything Nate says
Yep.
is gospel.
Yep.
You got to write it down. You got to take notes.
Yeah, so I mean, catch him on Monday nights, guys. He's on over 400 plus bull elk right now, so I'm sure he's definitely, when he heads out for elk, it'll probably only be a couple hours.
Yeah.
And they're gonna come.
Nate, leave some for us, brother.
Yep.
Leave some for us.
And they're gonna come live to you if they can with a hunt. They actually were just out of service for this hunt, but tomorrow morning they're gonna be featuring live to tape on the Bowtech News tomorrow morning. They're gonna show you that hunt. And I mean, I can't wait to see it.
I can't wait to see it.
I know what I'm doing tomorrow morning. Now, the key is, if you want to get notified, if you don't want to miss anything on the Bowtech Network, it's this great thing. We can text you when we go live. So all you have to do is text or text watch to 313131 or 313131 if you're in the United States. And if you're here in Canada, text WATCH to 393939. Great thing about it is you'll get notified every time something exciting is happening. And remember, here on the Bowtech Network, you're getting exciting things. You're getting live hunts, you're getting live cooking, you're getting live tips, and the best part, it's fully interactive. So you can talk to the experts, to the Bowtech Pro staff, whatever field of expertise they have.
Honestly, I mean myself, last week I learned so much about whitetail. I was asking Jeremy Starks last Friday night, I was asking him all kinds of questions, and I mean, man, I feel like I'm already more successful.
Honestly, watch the Bowtech Network for a week and take notes as you go along, and you'll have 2 or 3 pages full of notes that you're going to apply to your hunting season this year. Like, especially like Code said, whitetail. There's so many different things that we're starting to do differently that we didn't do last year.
Okay. Now, I'm going to get cooking here, so let's have a quick look. So let's talk about flavoring this mule deer. Now, the mule deer sure doesn't need much flavor, but we're going to add just a little bit. And what we'll do is start off by just taking an onion, and we're just going to make a fine dice. So I start by trimming the root and the top, and then I'll peel that back. Normally, it's just a layer or 2, whatever makes sense based on how fresh the onion is.
And a sharp knife if you don't want to cry.
Yeah, that's the important thing. Now, I just want to say for a moment, we've also been joined, and we've got guests here watching on Instagram. So we want to acknowledge, say hi to our friends on Instagram. I want to say thank you for watching. And if you have any questions, again, go to the Facebook, and we'll get answer as many as we possibly can. Keep in mind, there we go. Yeah, we're on Instagram. Keep in mind that we're trying to answer all these 12 plus feeds, but we'll get to your questions whether it's now or after the broadcast.
Yeah, that's another great thing about these broadcasts is they live forever on the internet. You guys can go and watch this afterwards, cook dinner on Friday night using this exact recipe.
Yeah.
Follow along.
So these, the important thing for us is we want to just give you some techniques that will ultimately make your job in the kitchen a lot easier. So all I'm doing right now is just preparing a dice. And you saw what I did is I just simply made some nice cuts from the root to the top, and you can see what I end up with is really quite a beautiful, what the French call brunoise. We'll just call it like a small to medium dice. Again, I'm running from root tip to the top, slicing through, and that motion, what you want is, rather than cutting straight through, to use your tip and just kind of drag it through, making sure that your knife is sharp, and then when you get that with your hands up like this so you don't cut yourself, slice through, and then through you go again. So you can see that perfect dice. Looks beautiful. Now when we eat this, when we saute that up with the mule deer, the reason I want to make sure everything is roughly the same size is so that it cooks evenly, but so I don't get any big pieces, so that it's really nice and well mixed. I've got a beautiful red pepper. For me, red, yellow, orange, green, whatever you've got, toss a couple extra in. Anything that's going to add flavor. Peppers are sweet.
A sweet flavor too.
Sweet.
You have all that stuff. It's nice to get a pop of sweet in there too.
Yeah, and of course when we saute it, we're developing flavor. So this is the way I like to prepare peppers. You can see there's very little, if any, waste. It's easy to prepare, easy to get from your refrigerator onto your stove.
Is there anything I can do for you?
No, we're just going to keep plugging along here. You can select, you know what I need? I need a jalapeno. So we're going to use 2 different kinds of jalapeno. Now, for those of you who don't know, it's actually pretty cool. I'll throw the question out there just in case there's anybody who really knows their jalapenos. So do you know what type of pepper a chipotle is? So come back to me if you will. Yeah, I know you know. And
I don't know if I do. I don't want to be wrong.
Yeah, we'll just wait for a viewer to respond.
You're like, yeah.
So with those sides off, now I can slice, and you'll notice those long slices are approximately the width of what I was doing with the onion. And again, that's because I want nice uniform cuts. Whoops. And what we'll do actually back here, I'm going to turn the oven on. Got my my trusty Fulgor Milano here, which keeps me in good shape in the kitchen. And I'm going to start with a little bit of butter. So I'm just going to use about a tablespoon, not too much. Tablespoon of that in. and I'm going to use a little bit of olive oil. This temperature won't be super high. I'm not going to get a bitter flavor from that olive oil. I'll actually get some really nice flavor development. So I want to make sure that I've got flavors on every level. Also, the color from all of this is going to be just beautiful.
Yeah, these peppers are so sweet.
They're good. And you know, the best thing, that's the thing, like quesadillas this time of year, it makes so much sense because everything is in such great condition. It's inexpensive. And you know, this is even something, let's say that you had a bit too much. This is something a lot of people ask me about. So can you reuse a frozen meat? So let's go through this just for a second. Okay. So once this has been thawed, it needs to be cooked. It cannot be refrozen. But what you can do is you can take and cook this, and then you can freeze what you cooked. So what you can do, like I've got a big, I got like about almost 3 pounds of mule deer here. What I can do is I can make this side. Anything that's left over, I can put in the fridge, or I can put it in the freezer into individual bags, maybe use it for lunch or dinner on another day. But keep that in mind. After you've thawed meats of any kind, any protein, it needs to be cooked before you can refreeze it. Okay, so now with all of these lined up, so do you know what this cut is called?
Julienne.
Julienne, yes, that's good.
I'm learning.
There you go. And so all you do is just line that up, and you can see there comes that familiar, nice dice, easy to prepare. You can see the most important thing, as you said, sharp knife, right?
What cut is that?
What cut is that? That's brunoise. Or that's, like I said, a medium dice. Okay, so let's push those up there, and then I've got the jalapeno left.
Yep. How are you going to cut the jalapeno?
And, well, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take, I don't want the seeds in. So the hottest part of the jalapeno is actually the seeds. I'm only going to use probably about half of this one, so I'll set that aside. And so the important thing is to remove the seeds. Yeah, no, it's hot, brother. It's hot.
All the juices are getting in my eyes.
Yeah, no, it's really hot. Now, the upside is when we do saute it, it will mellow those flavors, okay? So the key is here now, I don't want to do great big dice. This is where we want to go fine dice.
Really fine.
Really fine, nice fine strokes here. You'll notice when I'm slicing a pepper that I don't slice on the skin. It's much easier and much easier to handle if you turn it over with that skin side down and just run your knife through evenly. And again, after we've prepared that julienne, we can now slice. Look at that, it's so beautiful. It smells so good. It's so fresh. And you know, that really gets to maybe the most important thing about the Outdoor Chef, Surefire Wednesdays, and everything that we're working on is that we know where our food comes from. Oh, yeah. We know that it's fresh, we know that it's healthy, it's all part of a really athletic lifestyle. Now, you're going to want to see this, cameraman. Come on over here, we're going back. Code keeps trying to set that camera down, we won't let him. So with the pan preheated, we want to go in. Look at that beautiful color. So those jalapenos are going in. The red peppers are going in, and that onion, we'll get all that in. Nothing's wasted, simple flavors. Now, this is the time, give that a stir. This is the time where we want to get that salt in. So I've got, you'll see I always use a really nice flake sea salt. That's because I love the texture and I love the moisture content. So I'm literally just going to take and I'll just put that on. Now that salt is going to help to draw out some of that moisture, but more importantly, it's just going to get that flavor rolling. Now I'm going to add fresh ground pepper. You might say, well, why are you putting pepper in when you've already got the jalapeno in? The reason I'm doing that is because that fresh ground pepper, those beautiful little colored berries, when you grind it fresh, they release that oil, and that's layers of flavor, man. I'm telling you, you can't be without it. It makes me stutter. Yeah. Layers of flavor. Yes.
We got flavor in here.
So we're gonna saute that, develop that flavor, and while we do, you know what? I think it's time for a little beverage as I continue to work here.
More.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So Dakota's got an inspiration. Now, last week, if you missed last week, the boys and I were out at camp. So at the campfire, we did some really incredible dessert. We did a beautiful cornbread and peach because we were inspired. Georgia peaches were in. And let me tell you something, there's nothing like Georgia peaches. We've got a question here. Yes, Megan?
Not a question, but I'd like the answer to what pepper the jalapeno was.
Okay. So the chipotle pepper is actually a smoked jalapeno. So it is this. There you have. This is the beautiful chipotle and that adobo sauce. This to me, I always have a can of this around. It is a beautiful sweet and smoky heat that is mellowed, and this is hot, like this is hot. The sauce is just beautiful. Yeah. So some of our all of our flavors today are going to be tempered by some of that adobo sauce and some of that chipotle. But never forget now, a jalapeno is a chipotle smoked.
There you go.
It's all you.
And what we're going to do to cool down your mouths after eating all those jalapenos
yes.
and chipotles and that is we're going to do a sour peach margarita. So like you said, I was inspired last week because honestly, these Georgia peaches that have come in are just, they're breathtaking, man. I think I've eaten about 6 of the 9 that I think I got here. So that's what we're going to be making there, guys. So I'll show you here.
The nice thing is about mixing up flavors, so everybody knows a margarita, right?
Yeah.
But the nice thing is about taking something like this, you might not think of it,
yep.
but you're walking along and you're just thinking peaches, limes. And that simple syrup, tequila, yep. These are things that love each other. They're going to go great together.
Oh, yeah. So I'm going to be showing you something that's called a simple syrup. Now, I'm sure you've seen it, you know, in the grocery store. It's red, sometimes it's clear, sometimes it's yellow, depending on the flavor that it is. But I'm going to show you how to make one yourself and flavor it. So simple syrup is simply 50% sugar, 50% water. So come on over here, I'll show you. I've got 1 cup of water in a pan here. I'm going to heat that up, bring it to a boil. Because what happens is when you drop that sugar in your water, you want that sugar to emulsify immediately. And then to flavor it with that lime, the whole reason we're calling this sour is because of the lime flavor. Now we're going to do lots of lime, so it is sour. So
I'm going to jump in there for a second because a great talking point. You think about all these great flavors, you know, sweet and sour.
Yep.
You think to yourself, why, you know, we could just do peach, right? The nice thing about making it sour and
yep.
sweet is that your palate picks up salty and sweet and bitter
exactly.
and all of these things. And tell me, what do you put on the edge of that?
Salt. So I mean, you can do sugar, but salt really tempers all of that, all of those flavors.
Well, it brings it together, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So as a professional chef, what you're always doing to elevate flavors is finding ways to appeal to the entire palate.
Yeah.
It's something, you know, if you've had something that's just super sour
yep. or
worse, super sweet.
Too much.
You need something, you need that acidity to cleanse yep. the palate, you need the sweetness to spark your
yep.
soul,
yep.
and you need that salt to remember your salt in the earth.
It's the same way that you've seen us add in previous drinks, Angostura bitters, for example. That's basically like the salt and pepper of the drink world. You're seasoning your drinks with that type of thing. So to begin with, we're going to use fresh lime juice. If you can use fresh lime juice, that's the best. You'll see I am going to use a little bit of a concentrate, but our main juice is going to come from fresh limes. And you're going to want to buy yourself one of these reams. It's a simple tool. You can get them at the dollar store, and it just allows you to get all the juices that you possibly can out of that lime.
What I'm doing here, guys, just so you know, while Dakota's making this drink, is I'm just going to prep the base for my spicy beans. And yeah, I'm watching that for you. I'll just turn that on.
Yep.
And so that's what I'm working on right now.
So we're going to add about 3 fresh limes. Lots of lime juice. These limes are actually really nice. There's actually a lot of juice.
Whenever you're selecting limes, I don't know if have you ever had the frustration of you open a lime and you squeeze it and you're like, it's like 1 drop. It's crazy. Yep. Always make sure to check the weight of citrus. So literally feel it, and it should feel nice and heavy. Yeah, look at that, man. That's like, 1 is like 2.
Come here, look at this. I'll do the other half of this one here. Watch this. This is how much juice you want coming out of your limes. Look at this. Not hard to make limeade out of that. Holy. Look at the amount of lime juice there. Now come on over here. Our water's boiling. So once our water's boiling, so we had a cup of water in there, cup of sugar now. Drop that right in. Myself a whisk here. You're just going to want to whisk that together until that sugar completely emulsifies in the liquid. You'll see it happens fairly quickly. And you can see the consistency of that is quite viscous. And this is enough simple syrup. You can make 5 liters of simple syrup if you want. Put it in the fridge and keep it for the rest of the weekend or a couple weeks. And I'll show you the way that we're going to flavor this to make it a little bit more bitter. I'm actually going to add some lime zest in there. And of course, obviously that heat, because the water is boiling hot, is going to activate the oils in that zest immediately. Oh, if you could smell this right now, as soon as that zest hits the water, it just lights this room up. Okay, some lime zest, and then we're actually going to also add some lime juice in there as well.
You guys like jalapenos in your black beans?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Silly question.
Just gotta ask Mom.
Some lime juice.
Come on over here just for 1 second, Dave.
Yep.
So I'm going to approach these black beans a little bit differently. So I'm just slicing rings of this beautiful jalapeno, and that's because I want to create a different appearance. So I want something that's a little dirty, a little gnarly, and I'm telling you, this is going to be a kick in the pants when we make this one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start off. I got my cast iron here. You'll see I use a ton of cast iron. That's because I love the way it holds the heat. I love the way that it cooks. So I'm just going to get this preheated.
Yep, I'm going to show you guys here. Now you'll see we have that lime zest in there. Now you want to get that out of your simple syrup so that no one gets a real bite. You'll see I'm using a stainless steel bowl here. You don't want to pour this hot liquid into glass or something because it could crack it. So you'll see we're going to drain all that out. Look at that lime zest.
Incredible.
The smell, man.
Oh my goodness. I love cooking. Don't you love cooking?
Oh yeah. And so you actually...
Bailey's right.
Yep.
You actually were cooking.
I was cooking.
You were cooking
I'm
margarita.
on the stove. I'm cooking a margarita. So this simple syrup, you want to take that, put it in the fridge, let it cool down. Of course, if you pour this in here right now, it's going to melt your ice, make your drink a little bit warmer than it should. So set that in the fridge. But I've made some in advance, so I've got probably about half a cup of simple syrup, and you'll see, watch how much actually goes in. This is the sweet to our drink.
And the viscosity.
And the
is
viscosity
very cool.
is
You
very
can see
thick.
that. It looks. You know what it reminds me? It reminds me like of the texture of like motor oil. So you get that nice thickness. It's very rich. But the nice thing is, instead, if you were to just put sugar in here and blend it, you'd have crystals.
Ritz, then, yeah.
So that's the great thing about simple syrup.
Yep.
It's very stable. Plus, it'll help the texture of the drink as
Oh,
well.
definitely. I mean, if you just throw that, like you said, into a cold liquid, that sugar is not going to emulsify. You're going to
not
get
gonna
little
melt in.
pieces. With that hot liquid, it melts immediately and becomes part of the water. Now you'll see we have some silver tequila here. Oh, I grabbed the cup measure. That's what I would normally do. We're going to add probably about 4 ounces here into this amount. We've got some thirsty people in the crowd, so we'll add lots.
I'm going to have to make a lot of quesadillas tonight.
Silver tequila, and then some triple sec. So the reason I added, this isn't in a typical margarita, but this is going to bring some really nice orange notes to it and add just a little bit more alcohol, so that the reason I like using sometimes 2 different types of alcohols is so that, you know, if you're having a big party or something and you want to get your alcohol content up and you have a large group of people, you're not flying through your tequila, flying through your whiskey. You have a few different types of alcohol, so you're not using all from one. So we're going to add about 1.5 ounces of that triple sec.
Look how full it is. Just from the alcohol and the juice.
Come on over here. I'm gonna
Lots of lime juice.
We're gonna take a 2-second break to bring you black beans, spicy black beans. So I've got the cast iron heated now. What I've got is I just have onions, which of course again sautéed onions, beautiful flavor, and I've got those jalapenos. Now those jalapenos are gonna mellow in flavor, but they're still gonna be hot. All of that beautiful heat is gonna be in there, seeds and all. Now, have a glance just behind here, and you can see what I'm trying to do. This is starting to, it's becoming translucent. You can see that it's beginning to saute, but I don't want to stop this process yet. I want to get more flavor, so I'm just going to wait. One of the keys to making sure that you get levels of flavor, impressive levels of flavor, is not to rush. Take it easy, slow things down. What's that saying we have?
Slow is smooth and smooth is fast.
That's the way it is in the kitchen all the time. You got to slow things down to speed things up. It happens that way all the time. Make sure your pan is hot. Make sure your preparation is done. That's the way that you succeed in a restaurant, and that's the way you'll succeed at home. Let's have a quick look at this. This is already starting to saute, and I'm going to bring up all those beautiful flavors. I can hardly wait to taste that black bean. I'm telling you, man, it's going to be on fire, on fire, on fire.
Come on over here, Ben. I'll show you some more of the drink. Now I've just started to work away on these peaches here. These peaches, I'll show you if you don't know how. All you want to do is take your knife and run it around the center of the peach. It's going to split in half. You'll notice one half always comes out without the seed, and I'm just simply quartering it into that drink. And with this one, I won't add another one, but you simply do it again. That comes off, pull that seed out, Bob's your uncle, away you go. Now, like I said, I am going to add some of this lime, this concentrated lime juice, just to bring a little bit more of that bitter flavor in. All right, she's ready to blend up, guys. Come on over here. This is going to happen quick.
Yeah, take it slow, man. I gotta see this. Okay, go for it. I want to see this.
With this hurricane, I'll start it slow. Hold on. Here we go. There we go. Like we said, we're going to use salt to rim it. So, we're going to take this, a traditional margarita glass, take a lime wedge, cut a slit in it, and run that along the entire edge. This is what's going to cause your salt to stick to the rim of the glass.
Kind of squeeze it a bit, eh?
Yep.
This salt is kind of like a...
This salt is just gorgeous, man. And like I said, you can use sugar if you're not a person who likes saltiness.
Or a salt and sugar mix we've done before,
yeah,
too.
you can. Yeah, that's true.
The raw sugar,
Yep.
it looks really... So a quick note, if you want something kind of interesting, you can take the coarse sugar and the coarse salt, kind of mix them up, use a mortar and pestle, and you can bring them together, and that way when you take that sip, you get salty and sweetness. So that's what you're looking for. You want that nice bite, that salt that's immediately going to light up the rest of those flavors.
And you'll see we've just done a little disc of lime there on the edge for a little bit of garnish to make it look nice. And I'm going to put some peach wedges in there. We always do it. We always show in the drink, we give you a little hint as to what's in the drink by adding it in a garnish. It's kind of the point of a garnish, is to let people know what's in my drink.
It's that, and then of course the peaches get drunk too, and the peaches taste pretty good, especially this time of year.
Okay, we're just going to set it on the edge there. Look at that.
Beautiful.
Just beautiful. Come over here.
Love it.
Blitz this up real
Instagram, we haven't forgot about you.
Look at that consistency.
When you're done with that drink, we got to show the folks on Instagram.
A margarita is almost all ice. It's very viscous, and you'll see. Here we go. Look at that. It's almost like a slushy. See that consistency?
Oh my gosh.
Look at that.
That looks so beautiful. Look at all those beautiful little flecks of the flesh that's been chewed up. That is absolutely stunning. Now, of course, peach juice doesn't typically have the skin in it. So, you'll hear us say this ad nauseum. We say it a lot. Why on earth? You know when you take a bite out of a peach, it's juicy and it's sweet on the inside, but that skin has great flavor too. So when you chop that up and put it in there, first of all, the color is darker. So that's a bit, oh, I love that. Look at that. That's gorgeous. The color is darker and tons more flavor. May, I'm going in here with the mule deer.
We're just going to finish this up here, guys. Look at that. Beautiful. Take that to your guests. They sure are going to be I don't know if we can drink these ones. They're too beautiful.
No, we're definitely going to drink them. Babe, you got to see this. So,
I'm going to take the Instagram photo.
So why do you show? This is why you have to have a hot pan. You see all that developing on the bottom there? We need that. That's where you're. Oh, it smells incredible. This is where you're going to develop flavor, folks. You got to make sure to have a hot pan. See how much I've got in here? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move that around just a little bit. And then I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to leave it alone, let that sear off. Look at this, that base for the black bean, that's turning out beautifully as well. Wow, we're doing good. What are we in here? We're 40 minutes in. Boy, oh boy. We're having, we got lots going on. I still got to make a pico de gallo. You're going to love that. So my take on the pico de gallo is, again, traditional, wouldn't have the jalapeno, or it would have jalapeno. Wouldn't necessarily have the chipotle, but we're definitely going to put the chipotle in tonight.
I knew we had to try this, so I'm doing up another one.
Oh, it looks so good. So, this is a great, if blueberries are in season, Why not do a blueberry?
Definitely.
Right?
Blueberry,
Plums.
raspberry.
Oh, blackberries.
Blackberries.
Think about it. So, you know, with the right techniques and the right tools,
There you go.
you can accomplish anything in the kitchen. And cheers to you. Cheers to you on Instagram. I wish you were here with us. By the way, if you ever want to join our studio audience,
Yep.
we have a little studio audience, and you're in Canada within drive. Actually, you can fly in from wherever you want
On your own dime.
on your own dime. Yeah, until the show's budget grows. Listen, send us a message. We'd love to have you here.
Yep. You gotta try it.
If someone else can take the camera because I want to try it.
It's so perfect. That's like a bite. That's like a sip of summer. It's like a sip of summer. Delicious.
Oh, we're making those this weekend. That's delicious, man.
Now I get to try it.
You want to try it?
I want to try it. Drinking age 19. Thank you very much, all you Americans.
You gotta stop bringing that up. It's gonna be a sore spot eventually.
I like rubbing it in.
Okay, so we got some great flavor developing here. Of course, that's what you want with the onions. They're starting to become translucent, but if they're sauteed to brown, that's really what I'm looking for.
Yep.
Okay, so you can see how beautiful that is. Now, back here, let's turn this over. Let's have a look at what's going on down here. Oh my gosh. See that nice brown that's starting to develop? Now, we're going to leave this. Of course, I could finish this just the way it is. We can continue to cook it, but I want to brown that. So the most important thing for me now, got that in, and I'm sitting here talking, I got to get some salt on this. So the important thing when you're seasoning is to season in layers. Make sure that as you put ingredients in, you continue to season and develop all of those beautiful flavors. Now, let's look at this. My cast iron top. So I'm going to take, there's my tortillas. Yeah, so once I get started, I'm going to use this beautiful cast iron piece. No, it's not quite hot yet. No, I don't have it on yet. So, but the nice thing is you can use also a frying pan. And come to think of it, I'm going to show you on that grill, but I'll also show you on the frying pan so you know you can do it at home yourself, no problem.
This is, now that I think about it, if you're hunting like Nate and get things done in 2 hours, this would be a great thing. You know, bread is easy enough to bring out to camp with you, especially if you're hunting near home. This is an awesome thing. If you got a mule deer down and you're quartering it out, got that meat there, slice the meat into little steaks, fire it up on the fireside, and you can do this there in camp.
Do me a favor and grab my. Now you might think that that's just ridiculous. You're like, I'm out hunting. I'm not going to make this. But grab the spicing. I'll tell you some of the things we do. We've got a question. Yes, Megan.
So people are loving the drink.
Yes.
But Tommy wants to have a little recap on what the recipe is to make it.
Okay, so Tommy, you want to grab that camera? I'm going to stay here. So Tommy wants a recap. Dakota,
Yep.
give him a recap.
So basically, Tommy, what we did,
First of all, Tommy, let me tell you, it tastes fantastic.
we started off by making our simple syrup. And so simple syrup is simply 50% sugar, 50% water. So however much you want to make a liter of it. It's a liter of water, a liter of water, a liter of sugar, and you're going to get a liter of simple syrup. Add whatever flavor you want into it. We added lime zest and lime juice into it. Let that sugar emulsify in it, and then we strained out that lime zest, and you're left with this. Here, take a look. This gorgeous simple syrup here. This needs to cool. You put it in the fridge, let it cool down, and then it's ready to go and use in your drinks. Then, we filled our blender jar about 3/4 full of ice. Margaritas are typically very icy. They're almost like a slush, okay? And then we took 4 ounces of silver tequila. We took 1.5 ounces of triple sec.
Really important to get the 100%.
Yeah, 100%
Really,
agave
really
tequila. Otherwise, you may
It just
you may
doesn't taste.
doesn't taste as good. You may cough a little bit. And then we took the juice from 2 fresh limes. Make sure they're real juicy. We reamed those in. Fresh
And that's where you
lime
get your
juice.
sour.
Yep, that's where you get your sour from. Is from the lime that we put in the simple syrup plus the fresh lime juice. Then for leaving a little bit more sour, we added a little bit of concentrated lime juice, about a tablespoon of it. And then we put fresh peaches. I put 3 fresh peaches in there.
Most important, skin on.
Yep, skin on.
Skin on
Leave that
because
on.
you have tons. First of all, that's where you get the color.
Yep, see that color?
That's where you get the flavor. and that's where you get that texture. That's what makes it so beautiful.
Okay, and then we threw it in there, blended it all together, made sure everything was blended. We rimmed the glass with a lime wedge. So you simply take a lime wedge, put a slit in it, run it around the outside, make sure you squeeze a little bit so lots of juice gets on the edge. We put it in salt. You can do salt and sugar or just sugar, depending on what you like. Then we took, you'll see there, we did a disc of lime there, just did a lime slice on the edge. Then we simply took, sliced some peach thinly, fanned it out, and laid it on top.
Beautiful.
Hope that suffices. You should definitely make that this weekend. Man,
Yeah.
it tastes delicious.
So one thing you can count on from us all the time. So Surefire Wednesdays will also have, as we said, with
Yep.
Bailey. Bailey's always going to do the smart food. So we got to do. Hey, let's do a recap. Let's talk about that, and then I'll get into some of the what I've got going on here.
So the recap of mine is I did a drink called the Blueberry Bone Blitz. What I did is I really wanted to focus on getting your calcium in. You know,
So that's why I call it bone blitz.
That's why I call it a bone
Gotcha.
blitz. You got strong bones. So the first thing I did is I took kale and collard greens, and I put those in the blender, and then I added all these ingredients. I got dates for some nice flavors. I had some sweetness, and same thing with the raisins. Threw some of those in there. Then I had about a cup of almonds, and I tossed the almonds in there. Adds another, again, great flavor, great texture, tons of calcium in these. Almonds are also a great source of protein. I actually, in this drink, we got 25 grams of protein. That's literally like making a protein shake.
No kidding.
And then I had a third cup of yogurt, a full
So the
cup
Greek
of water,
yogurt.
the Greek yogurt.
Really good for you.
Blended it right up, and it turned into this. Look how gorgeous that is.
Dude, that chia is thickening that up big time.
Oh yeah. Oh, I forgot about the chia seed. The chia seed is amazing too. Tons of omega-3 in there. Megan, we got a question?
So Dylan just wants to know where they can find recipes afterwards.
Afterwards, great question,
Yep.
Dylan. So all these recipes will be available. They'll be available. We'll post them on Facebook on the Outdoor Chef. We'll be making them available. Bowtech will be posting them right there on their site as well. Excuse me. And if ever anything, if we ever miss anything for you, please. These days for us, and we've been now going, I think, 15 weeks
Yep.
with Surefire Wednesdays. And it's such an incredible privilege to come to you. If there's anything we ever miss, let us know. And if there's anything you ever want to see, also let us know.
That's great, yeah.
So I want to show you now. This might be, you might think, you have all seen these before. This is how you take a six-pack with you to keep it cool. But this is what the boys and I have done. We've taken this cooler and we've turned this into our mobile kitchen. So we use these because, of course, the canning jars, when you seal them up, they can get wet and it's not going to damage what's inside. We have a wide range. We got salt, star anise, cinnamon, black pepper. This is a knockoff on that Old Bay spice, which honestly you can put on anything. Fennel seeds, cumin seeds, allspice berries, cardamom, coriander, you name it. I can get 15 in this. And that, if I take that with me, I can cook just about anything in the woods or in the backyard. Now, come on over here. Let's have a quick look at this. We've got a few things going here. So look at that beautiful texture of that. We're going to turn that over. Let's see if we develop some nice color there. And then this for me, you'll notice whenever we're cooking, we're always going to cook with some type of an alcohol. And the reason that we do that is that all alcohol has an element, a superior element of flavor development. I'll show you one of those. Check out one of those from Vortex. They make great scopes and great glass.
The Ram's Horn beer
But the
opener.
Ram's Horn beer opener is
Open
awesome.
that up at your party. Everyone will be having more beer just because they want to reuse that thing.
So the first thing, the reason we use alcohol, first of all, is because there's flavor. So we've got more or less, we've got a Mexican theme going. So I'm using Dos Equis. Now look at that. What's coming off the bottom there is instantaneously flavor. So all of that beautiful, now I don't know, I'll tell you something just as a side note. In a professional kitchen, and let's have a look at this while I talk about it, Coke, because it's happening like instantaneously. Do you see the color of that? We're essentially creating like what would be like an onion stock. Now I'll tell you something. In a professional kitchen, when you want to give some real robust dark flavor and color. You can actually take an onion. Onion is one of the things you can actually burn and develop a ton of flavor. We'll actually hold it over an open flame, take that full onion, set it on skin and all, and put it right into a stock, into a soup. Incredible flavor. But this is the fun part. So we've got all the flavor in the beer, beautifully reduced now. It's cooked to perfection. And now we're going to go in, we're going to finish that up with some beer. I'm adding that. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to cook that until it's essentially dry. So I'm literally going to take anything that's developed on the bottom is now going to be in that. And I'm just going to continue to cook that until it's almost completely dry. But here's the proof right here. You can see. Look at the color of that. That is absolutely gorgeous. Now, it's time to go in with some of these beans. Now, these were soaked overnight. If you're using canned beans, make sure to strain them beforehand. You want to make sure to get that packing liquid, that brine that it's put in. So I'm going to go in, oh my gosh, these beans, I'm just going to love these beans. I love black beans. There's nothing like the texture, full of protein. I think all the food we're making tonight is good health food.
Good health food.
Good health food. So literally, I'm just going to take that now. A little bit of salt.
Good carb load there.
Exactly. A little salt.
This is the before the hike, before the hunt. Nice meal with the family before you head out for a couple of days. This is the meal you want to make.
Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Now this is my spicy black bean. I'm going to turn this down to low. I'm going to take that kettle, I'm going to cover that up, I'm going to let that just cook away, and now it's time to make the pico de gallo. So we're going to start with some of this. So first of all, the beautiful cilantro. So cilantro is a key ingredient when making a pico de gallo. So what I'll do is I'll start by putting, it's incredibly bright flavored, and what I always do literally, if I'm using a food processor, now you can do all of this by hand. You do not need a food processor. But for me, just chop it up fine. But for me tonight, I got to get this done for you. So I'm literally going to I'm going to tear that top off. All of those stems that are in the upper part along the leaves, those are fine. To tell you the truth, I could probably chop these up. But for the right texture, I'm going to put these in. So I'm going to start with those leaves. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, I never like having a big bite of onion. I don't know about you, but when I have salsa, I like the flavor of onion, but I don't want that huge bite. When I'm using onions, instead of taking and slicing the whole thing off, I only want about a third of this onion. I'm literally just going to take a side. And whenever you're working with a food processor, it really helps to break down the ingredients to, to a smaller size so that it'll really come up evenly.
This is one of the things I love about cooking, and especially working with different ingredients, is just look at that. Look how beautiful that onion and what happens in nature when this grows from a seed.
Let's have a look
and
at
turns into this.
So you can see here, I want to show you how that beer has now completely reduced. That's the key to working with cast iron. Now I'm going to turn that back burner off completely. Any more cooking will be done by the residual heat, but that is ready to go just as it is. Okay, so these, I'm just going to cut this up.
Chopper
And actually, I will get you to do something. I want to do, you can literally just take the cores out of these and then quarter them for me.
You got a pairing there?
Yep, right there.
Thank you.
Those in, and then I'm going to put the lime in. So, as Dakota said, the incredible flavor that comes and fragrance that comes from the lime zest is amazing. First thing I always do is just take and roll that lime. Rolling it will kind of loosen it up a little bit. It'll make juicing a whole lot easier. Then, we'll take the zester. What'd you do with it, buddy? There it is. Okay, got it. Zester. So we'll take... Yeah, no kidding. And as soon as you start zesting, that fragrance, that's unbelievable. Now, of course, you can just use the lime juice. The problem is, it won't be nearly as good without this zest.
Well, zest adds a lot of flavor. I find it it's almost a different flavor when you add the zest.
Well, it's certainly more fragrant. It tastes great. It smells great, and of course, it's going to help to brighten up the other flavors and mellow them out at the same time. So zest going in. So this pico de gallo is something that I've been making for a long time. This a fresh salsa is good for so many things. Of course, all Mexican dishes, but this also makes a beautiful topping to something as simple as chicken or fish, like pico de gallo for me and fish. By the way, that's a nice little segue into a little trip we've got planned. Here, let's make it rain a little bit. A little trip we've got planned for next Wednesday, and you're not going to want to miss Surefire Wednesdays next week. Now, weather permitting, we're going to be on Lake Erie, and we're going to be fishing for pickerel. Now,
One of my favorite fish.
we did a beer battered pickerel a few weeks ago, so check out the archives. It's a beautiful fish, and I'm telling you, we've literally been at our limit by about 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
So I just checked, and a buddy of mine, he got a 9.5 pounder was the biggest one today. So we're going to look forward to showing you some of that. So the reason that I do all of this first, you'll notice I'm doing this in a specific order. I'm going to take half of a fresh jalapeno, and I'm going to take the seeds out of that as well. And what I want is I'm going to start in the food processor with all the ingredients that I essentially want to be the smallest. So I would like a different texture. I like a little bit of the tomato completely pureed, and I'd like some of the pieces that are a little more chunky. I don't know about you, but I like that texture when I'm eating too.
chunkier
I don't want baby food is what I'm
No.
saying.
I like salsa. Like I personally, even if I use a food prep processor, I'll leave a couple of tomatoes stand and chop them up a little bigger so you have a nice big chunk too every once in a while.
So what I'll do is I'm just going to take a couple of these. So I'll take, let's say, 3 full tomatoes. I got a dozen. So first of all, like, are you looking at that color? It's absolutely beautiful. The other thing is I want to put in the adobo sauce as well as that chipotle. I want to put that in at this time because I want that really pureed. There's that beautiful adobo sauce. You can see that there. How hot do you want this? Let's go, what, 3? Oh, no. What's Cindy saying?
Mom's like
2. Okay.
2.
Mom says 2, so we're going to go with 2. And, okay, we'll do actually one more tomato here as well. So let's go over and we'll start with this. So on the food processor, now keep in mind, as I said, it's not necessary to have a food processor, but in this case tonight, it's supposed to make it easier.
Pop it out.
I popped it out. We will get it in. Tell you what we're going to do. We're going to do this. Get it in. There we go. So with all of those ingredients in, the smell is just incredible, and it's extremely fresh. You know, this time of year, of course, tomatoes, field tomatoes can be bought, and field tomatoes elevate this to something really special. Now, what I'm going to start off by doing is pulsing, because what that does is that throws the ingredients up, and they drop back down, allowing me to get a nice, even mix. Look at the way that's coming together. Now remember, this one I want almost completely pureed. This is basically going to be like the base for the rest of the salsa. Let's check this over here, Code, and see how we're making out. So this is perfectly finished now. That's completely ready. Let's have a look. This is a little hot. Oh, look at that. Cooking together nicely. I'm actually just going to give that a little bit of a stir here. Let's see what that's doing underneath. Oh my gosh, you looking at that? Look at that beautiful juice being rendered there. That liquid's coming out. I want that to dry up quite a bit because I want to be able to put that on the quesadilla without it getting soggy. So that means I'm going to leave that lid off from here on in. Let that reduce a little bit. How are we doing over there, babe?
Good. All the tomatoes are now cut up and quartered.
Okay, you can bring those over here.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it smells so good. So you can see that's essentially the base for my pico de gallo. Now it's important for me to get a little bit of texture. So I'm going to put this in. Go ahead and put those in. It's really important also to not overfill the food processor so that it doesn't, so it can fall down as you pulse it. We're going into full production here. Okay, that's good. I love that. Oh yeah, that looks good. And we'll do another one here. As you can see with Surefire Wednesdays, it's really important for us to make all of these recipes in real time. Making them in real time shows you now how easy it is to make really good food fresh, with fresh ingredients, and in not a lot of time. If I'm doing this while I'm talking with you, imagine how quickly you could do it at home. And the nice thing is about doing a batch like this is that you can make enough for a couple days, certainly enough. This will hold for 3 or 4 days in really great condition and be beautiful. Whether you're cooking chicken or fish, or even if you're having a little bit of leftovers from the Southwest. So one of the things you really want to make sure, if it's at all possible, if you have the time, is to make sure to bring this together maybe an hour beforehand. If you bring this together an hour beforehand, all of these flavors are going to have a chance to come together beautifully. I'll get you to just stir that for me, buddy. And then we are going to get into production here. The last thing I want to do is I want to put together a spice mix, and this is one that I really, really love. So we're going to start off with all of these beautiful spices. Now, all of these, I have a tendency to always grind my own spices, to toast them and to grind them. I get so much better results in terms of flavor, and I'll go through these with you in just a moment.
Taste test.
Taste test. So you're gonna need salt. There's no seasoning in it yet. Check for seasoning. And how's the lime?
Good.
Yeah? Funny? It's hot? Good. So of course, if you don't like it spicy, then what you can do is just eliminate the chipotles. You can also eliminate or limit the amount of jalapeno that you put in. So let's start putting this together. And this is really important for me to show you how simple it is to make your own. This is essentially a taco seasoning. So we're going to start, we've got the ancho chili. So this ancho chili, so here's another pepper test. Ancho chilies are poblanos, fresh poblanos that have been smoked. So here we've got this beautiful ancho chili. So it smells amazing. So I'm going to put a couple tablespoons of ancho in there. And then I've got cumin, which I just love. We'll put about the same amount of cumin in there.
That's better now.
Good?
Oh yeah.
Good. And then we're going to put some coriander. All of these have been toasted fresh and then ground up. Mortar and a pestle, or you can use, and I've got a little bit of paprika here, so we'll put about a teaspoon of paprika. Beautiful. And then this is ground garlic. And what I use is I actually use garlic flakes, beautiful California garlic flakes. And that's onion and just a little bit of cayenne. You don't need very much. Little goes a long way. So this, I'm now just going to mix this up. You can see how beautiful that is. And this would smell and taste like a very classic taco seasoning. But this is what really makes Mexican cuisine superior, is their attention to detail when it comes to the spices, especially when it comes to their peppers. So I'm going to take in some of this. This is going to go directly into the meat. I'm going to season that. So it's going to go directly in. Soon as that hits that, my goodness, it already starts to smell so incredible. And, you know, we don't want to mask the flavor of this beautiful mule deer. Keep in mind, this could be mule deer, this could be black bear, this could be whitetail, this could be elk. Anything that is, you know, any wild game that you have, this would be a perfect fit for. So I've got this now, it's starting to heat up nicely. So this is the key. We're going to take a little bit of oil, start by seasoning the pan. You want to make sure that you've got lots of beautiful oil on there. Now just take a brush that. You can see that that pan is hot. Well, just want to take a minute, make sure that it's perfectly seasoned. That way we won't have anything sticking, and that way it'll be sure to get lots of beautiful color. What do you think, babe?
Oh, it's nice.
Smells good, eh?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You can smell even the flavor in olive oil alone.
Yeah, it's
So you
just
start
gorgeous.
heating it up.
So we'll start building. That goes down. Now, the glue, we've got some cheddar here. So I've got a little bit of aged cheddar. You can use jack cheese, whatever you like. Now keep in mind that it's the cheese, that's the glue.
Holds
So we want-
everything together.
holds everything together. So that goes on first, and then we're going to start with some of this gorgeous mule deer. Are you looking at that?
Look at that, eh? Looks
Oh
almost
my
like
gosh.
shredded,
Oh
you know,
my
like
gosh,
pulled
so
pork
good.
almost.
It smells so good. It's going to be such beautiful texture. Now, you're going to want to pile this a mile high, but keep in mind, you got to flip this baby. So you got to make sure that you don't end up wearing these ingredients. Then for me, these beans.
Oh yeah.
So, oh my
You
God,
can
smell the jalapenos. Oh my gosh, they smell so good. So literally put some of these beans on. Oh my gosh, they look so good. So good. Now, we want to brighten this up. We want a little bit of freshness. So I'm going to take, and let's just do a nice spring onion. So we'll just slice this just like this.
A little slower for those of you who can't cut like that. Myself
And-
included.
We'll take that. The reason we do them nice and thin like that is you don't want too heavy a bite, but you see how beautiful that is? That's absolutely incredible. You know what I want in there too? Let's put a little bit of, let's put just a bit of this in here. Just a bit, right? Just building flavors. We're going to put this on the outside, but we're going to put a little bit on the inside as well. So you don't want to hide those flavors from the beautiful mule deer, but one of the things about serving wild to table is you want to make sure that it's palatable for everybody. You want everybody to fall in love with wild to table the way that we have. So now the next layer of glue, I'm going to turn this up just a little bit. Throw some heat on there. Next layer of glue, and don't be shy with the cheese. And the more the different types of cheese, the more you can use, the better it will be, because it'll just give you a ton of flavor.
6 cheese quesadillas.
Exactly. Now you're talking. So then the other one on top. Now a lot of times I've seen people making quesadillas, and what they do is they make half and then fold it over. Okay. We did them at our restaurant this way. I love doing them this way. You can see 360 degrees of what's in this, and all you have to do is on top, and just drizzle a little bit of the oil. Keep in mind, if you're thinking, oh, it seems like a lot of oil, all the excess oil, it just stays on the pan. Not to worry. And then if you can, get yourself one of these babies. It's relatively inexpensive. And when it comes time, you just check on it. Make sure it's doing good. But you can do the same thing in one of the regular pans as well. So while that cooks up, I just want to show you this. Now this is almost completely reduced. You can see this beautiful flavor there. Now, I'm going to turn this off. Now keep in mind, if you're serving a large group of people, one of the great things about using cast iron is that it'll stay hot, it'll keep warm.
Even
so
after
keep
you shut
serving.
it off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's do a bit of a recap. If you joined us late, we got a beautiful Smart Food smoothie that Bailey made. It's full of bone strengthening
calcium.
bone food. That's right.
Yep.
And then Dakota's sour peach margarita. Well, we went to margarita because tequila is the key ingredient. Of course, tequila made from the agave grown in the deserts of Mexico,
We went
right
Mexican.
alongside. Yeah, that's right. We went south of the border. And then the quesadilla, for me, is the perfect vehicle for just about any food. Certainly for any wild game, because you can add beautiful flavor to it, and it makes it so simple. So you can see here we've got the cheese starting to bubble along nicely there. Now one of the things you want to watch with the tortillas is they have a tendency to get away from you a little bit. Are you ready for this? Look at me. Are you ready for this? Let's have a look. So it's quesadilla time. Okay, so now I could have left that. I just saw this corner. I could have left that a little longer, but you know what? I'm not going to worry about that, because when the other side is perfectly done, I'm going to turn it over and crisp up that side just a little bit as well. Now, before we leave, does anybody have any questions about any of the recipes we've done today? If you don't, then what I'd encourage you to do is to visit the Bowtech.com website, where you can see all of our previous broadcasts. You can see where we've cooked black bear, we've cooked wild turkey. Help me out here. We've cooked duck, we've done pizza, we've done so many different things that we absolutely love. And to tell you as well, we've got some really exciting hunts coming up this fall. We're looking at
Our first one is September 5th is opening for black bear here in Ontario. So The last thing we were hunting was actually black bear, but we're back at it again for fall black bear. Bailey's up to take his first shot with his bow.
Yeah.
I mean, he's pumped for that. And then right after that, we have duck and goose.
Yeah.
And then we're on to whitetail, guys.
So the key is, the last time we went, when we were at Bear Camp, we were so keen to come live to you because we had a beautiful set. We were going to cook it live, hunt it, cook it. We've got new technology. We got antennas, baby. We can go and we can reach you. We believe we'll be able to reach you in so many different locations.
Yep.
So we were at camp last week. We'll be on the boat next Wednesday.
Yep.
We're going to be bringing you live cooking, live catching of the beautiful
Live
pickerel.
fishing,
You're
yeah.
going to see why we love Lake Erie.
Yep.
The sunrises, the sunsets, the clarity of the water is truly one of our greatest assets.
Yeah, I mean, don't get annoyed with us that day, guys. We're going to come live to you lots because we want you to experience it with us, man. We're going to show you everything from getting on the boat, seeing the sunrise, catching the first fish of the day. You know how exciting that is, your first fish of the day. And then,
Talking
afterwards,
about fishing?
yeah, we're going to have a
Yeah.
shore lunch, guys. And maybe it's for Surefire, so it's going to
Yeah.
be a shore dinner, but it's going to be something else.
It'll be beautiful. Yes, Megan.
Dylan asked, can I go bear hunting with y'all?
You know what?
Let me think about that. I was actually just looking into that, Dylan, because I was looking into it for a few friends of ours from the U.S. And they can't come moose hunting with us. You can come whitetail hunting.
Whitetail.
We're looking into doing that, giving maybe a few of those away.
Yep.
But I'll have to look into black bear. Maybe we can.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Hopefully we can. So, as always, we want to take a moment to thank the most important people in our life, and that's the people sitting behind the cameras. My beautiful wife, Cynthia, my kids, Megan, for always sticking with us here, his girlfriend. To Alicia, who I know is watching at home, Charlie and Finley, my granddaughters, to Grace, Blake, and everybody else, Blair and Cody, we love you all. We thank you. We thank you all the more than dozen locations where we went live tonight. We're so grateful for the opportunity to bring these to you. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear what you want to see us cook in the kitchen. But as always, we've used up our time. It's time to say goodnight. So we appreciate all the time that you've given us. Just a quick reminder, don't forget tomorrow at 12 noon Pacific, Rihanna's going to be coming to you with some trail food. I saw her with a dehydrator. Looks like she's got some great ideas. And don't forget about Nate's antelope, right? That footage, we'll be able to see that tomorrow, right, Dakota?
Gotta see that.
Yeah, tomorrow morning. Don't miss that. Remember, I'll leave you with this. Text WATCH to 313131 in the States if you want to be notified the moment we go live, or 393939 here in Canada. We want you to watch. We'd love to hear from you. We really appreciate you watching. Have a great night. And until next week, we'll see you then. Okay, hold on to that one.
Whew.